So in a will, there are certain roles that you need to think about. Executors are the main person who runs the estate after you pass away. So their role is to administer the will as you write it, abide by their duties under the law, and to collect assets in, pay debts, and then distribute the estate. You can have up to 4 executors, and yes, beneficiaries can also be executors, and then you can have alternatives as well. So you can also have up to 4 alternative executors. You can have them having to act jointly, you can have them having to make unanimous decisions, or you can give them more flexibility. So it really is important that you choose executors that you will trust, that won't create control issues within your family, and also that can look after your estate potentially for a longer time. Because if you have children, for example, who you don't want to get their inheritance until they're 25 or 30, your executors often become the trustees. So after they've administered the estate, your executors are often a trustee of any trust you set up for your children. They don't have to be, you can nominate other trustees, but generally that's the way it works. The other thing you need to think about, obviously, are beneficiaries. Now, the beneficiaries are the people who receive benefits under your will, whether that is a specific legacy or whether it's a proportion of your residuary estate, which is the bulk of the estate after you've made certain little gifts. And then the other thing to think about are guardians. Particularly, well, only if you've got minor children, you need to appoint guardians for them. Now, your guardians don't necessarily have to be your executors, but I generally recommend that there is an overlap between the guardians and executors, although there should be someone independent. Now, the guardians will look after your children, not necessarily the money. So the executors are doing that. That's why you don't want a conflict of interest between those people. The guardians will generally have access to some of the funds for the maintenance and education of your children while they're looking after them. But with guardians as well, you also want to think broader than your family. If your family's not necessarily going to be the right people to be guardians, you can think of friends. You should also think of nominating specific people rather than couples. And you should also think about having alternatives just in case something happens to your primary selection. The reason I say don't think about couples is that you might ideally want a certain couple to look after your children and bring them up, but if something happens to that couple, if one of them passes away or they go through a divorce, they might not be ideal either. So you select the specific person within that couple that you want to be the guardian, and then you can have a backup just in case. So those are the primary people and roles in a will that you need to think about and prepare before giving instructions.